Everywhere online, people glamorize Etsy. Screenshots of cha-ching notifications, passive income claims, the list goes on, all right? And while yes, I personally made about $45,000 now selling digital products on Etsy, there's kind of a dark side that I feel like no one really talks about. And today I kind of want to bring that to your attention before you start selling. And honestly, I'm really not trying to discourage you in any way. I'm just trying to tell you the parts of Etsy that are frustrating, discouraging, and overwhelming, because I want you to be prepared for them, because if you know what's coming, you can work through it and kind of come out stronger. So let's talk all things competition, copycats, customer fees, burnout, and honestly, the mindset you need to survive the realities of Etsy, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows and passive income, but it still can be life-changing money if you play the game right. So part one is competition. When I first started, I thought Etsy was wide open, and in a way it kind of is, but competition is brutal, let me tell you. I'm gonna paint a picture here. So if you type in Instagram templates on Etsy, you'll see probably like 50,000 listings or something, and it's overwhelming when you upload one random product thinking it'll sell because it's pretty. Newsflash, it's probably not gonna sell and your product will drown in a sea of the 50,000 listings. And I learned this the hard way. My products really sat there for weeks, no clicks, no sales, and I remember thinking, am I really just not cut out for this? But the reality was I didn't stand out. This is one of the dark sides of Etsy. Etsy does not, I repeat, does not hand you visibility, you must fight for it. So how do you fight? You don't try to beat everyone. You carve out a micro niche and you dominate that niche. So I'm gonna give you an example here, okay? When I first started, I started with Shopify templates. I thought that making a website template was gonna be easy, and I thought that because Shopify templates had over 500 views a month, I was gonna reel in cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Not the case. Mind you, I'm a new shop. I'm competing with hundreds of other shops that have hundreds of other listings in their shop that look way better than mine. Nobody's gonna buy from me, okay? I needed to micro niche down within Shopify templates. So what did that lead me to? Pink Shopify templates, boho Shopify templates, fashion Shopify templates. I became a top competitor within those micro niches of Shopify templates. There is such a wide market for Shopify templates that me only creating a generalized Shopify template was just not gonna cut it, all right? So that's gonna be my biggest advice to you, is to be the top competitor in these micro niches and pivot from that one generalized term into something a little more niche. And you might be like, oh, I don't want to niche down, I don't want to niche down. But here's the thing, smaller searches still convert like crazy, folks. In fact, they convert better because those buyers are serious. If someone searches Shopify templates, they're just browsing. But if they type in fashion Shopify templates, hair Shopify templates, realtor Shopify templates, they are ready to buy because they need it for their business. So yes, competition is fierce, but the opportunities aren't dead. It just requires strategy, and instead of being Walmart, be the corner shop that everyone in your niche goes to because you're specialized in it. Part two is gonna be copycats, all right? When you're in the digital space, a lot of times you want to evaluate other shops and you want to see what other shops are creating, and you kind of just want to get an idea for what's selling. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is taking another shop's creativity, original ideas, everything that emulates from this shop and trying to put it on your shop, all right? That literally is plagiarism, that's copycatting, and it sucks, all right? I've had it done to me multiple times. The moment you make something that sells, people will copy it. That's not being dramatic, that's literally the reality of it, okay? I'm gonna give you an example. I had a product, when I first listed it, didn't get anything, no traction, no nothing. Within a few weeks, it took off, exploded on Etsy, it went crazy, all right? Now, a few weeks after that, I had a copycat that was doing the exact same thing I was doing. Literally, they purchased my listing under a different account and then bundled it with a whole bunch of other shops that they had purchased from and made one big entire template. So I immediately reached out to them and I was like, hey, I understand that we're all trying to make a buck on here, but you cannot take my templates and resell them as your own for one bigger template. Like, that's just not okay. And then I've had other shops too that have taken literally my exact template design and maybe changed the wording by 2 words, but they have all the same pictures as me, all the same colors as me. It's the exact same layout. You will have people who will copy your shop because they can't come up with anything original. There's nothing wrong with wanting to mold your shop maybe after somebody else's, but what is wrong is taking their exact design and making a whole different carbon copy of the exact listing they posted, all right? Etsy is a marketplace for you to create new and exciting digital products, not for you to copy something that's already been made. So the solution really is to outpace these people. Keep building your brand, add value that they simply cannot replicate, okay? You have to set yourself above from what these copycats are so desperately trying to chase after. Also, another thing you can do with these shops is you can report them. You can say, hey, this is copyright infringement, this is plagiarism, they are not selling stuff unique to them, they stole my design, and you can kind of threaten them with that. And I hate to use threaten as a word, but when they are threatening your income, you must threaten their shop. And that's the best way I can put it, and I hate to be frank and blunt, but that's what I would do in that situation. Another side people don't talk about with Etsy is the customer expectations with digital products. Most of your buyers are truly gonna be amazing people, super sweet, super understanding, but some will literally test every single piece of patience you have in your head. You're selling a $7 template and people will act like you sold it for $700 and literally rip your template apart. People expect you to be this customer service agent that's readily available 24/7, fixing their Canva file, giving instructions all the time. If you don't respond to them within 2 seconds, they're literally gonna leave you a bad review. Like, people genuinely will have no understanding for the fact that there is a person behind the shop. They literally will treat you like you're dumb, like you're stupid, and a lot of times it is user error. Even if it's in the instruction manual where it says, click this link to get XYZ, they simply will not follow. And that's the frustrating part about it, is your reviews are your currency on Etsy, and when a customer is threatening you based off of your product and you know it's good, and a lot of it is user error, it's kind of like a lose-lose, you know? Perfect example, the other day I had a buyer who couldn't log into the Canva and demanded I solve it for them like I was Canva's customer support staff theirself. People, I'm just selling a Canva template. I don't work for Canva, okay? The dark side about this is truly the emotional labor that comes with it, all right? You have to set boundaries between work and life. Just because you own your own business doesn't mean you have to mix both. There's a reason it's called work-life balance. I would recommend ChatGPTing a few responses back to customer questions that you're seeing often. Maybe like, how do I work this? Or the link doesn't work, or XYZ. So that would be one of my most helpful, beneficial tips. Come up with some ChatGPT prompts based on a few of the common questions you're seeing. You absolutely need to be ready for this. Some people will expect the world for pennies, all right? And it's just a part of the business. It's part of the territory that comes with selling digital products. So learn to handle it and not let it drain you, because it will happen to you. Now let's talk about money, okay? Because everybody loves to talk about revenue and the number's so big, but let's talk about the actual profit, okay? On Etsy, you've got listing fees, which is about 20 cents every single time you post. Transaction fees, 6.5%. And then payment processing fees, offsite ads. Etsy sometimes runs for you depending on if a buyer purchases through that offsite ad. So if you're selling a product for $10, you may see about $6 or $7, and that's not including if you're already running ads too, right? I left ads out of it because ads is a whole nother bubble. You could only be seeing maybe $6 to $7 of that profit. I'll never forget the first time I saw my payouts. I had made about $500 in sales, but only about 250 of it hit my bank account. And I was like, that is literally so discouraging, right? Like, I made $500 off of these digital products, but I only got to keep half. I think it was honestly about like $230 maybe, so a little less than half, right? And that's one of the dark sides about selling on a platform like Etsy, is all the fees they take out. But here's the perspective shift I had once I thought a little bit deeper about it. Comparing to physical products, margins are still incredible. No cost of goods, no shipping, no returns. That $230 was still profit. The only other extra expenses I'm paying for is my Canva Pro membership, which was about 15 bucks. That's 200 and something dollars I had extra in my pocket off of digital products, right? No physical products, no anything. That was all digital, all coming to my pocket, okay? The key lesson I want you to learn here is don't get stuck pricing your products too low, or else you'll never get out of that rabbit hole. Obviously, I want you to start low to get reviews, but raise your prices as you build credibility. Otherwise, Etsy's fees will quickly eat at your profits until you're working for free. And we don't work for free up in here, okay? Part 5 is burnout. In the beginning, I thought being successful meant I needed to upload like 3 or 4 or 5 different listings a week. I really hit like a burnout phase hard, just because I was constantly in a create mode, and our minds are not meant to be in that creative mode all the time. You know what I'm saying? Creativity comes in spurts, so when you're constantly exhausting it, your mind is literally just going to give out. So I feel like people glamorize as the hustle and the creativity and the grind, and while yes, that is needed to be successful on Etsy, it is not warranted 24/7. So what saved me was batch creating templates once a week, usually on the weekends, maybe on like a Friday night, Wednesday night, reusing old elements across products, so the same fonts, typography, color schemes, the bones of the template, and also planning launches around seasons instead of, you know, just winging it. And once I started doing this, I just felt lighter. The business kind of went from a stressful grind to something that could actually sustain and last. And that's the lesson, is digital products can be scalable, but only if you build systems. Otherwise, you quit and burn out before the compounding effect even hits. Part 6 is why it's still worth it in 2025 going into 2026. So after all the competition, the copycats, customer fees, the burnout, you might be thinking, is this even worth it? Why would I even open my Etsy shop? Because with all the headaches, Etsy digital products still changed my life to this day. Because something I made once sells repeatedly over and over and over again and continues to make me money to this day. I'm filming this video right now and I've already gotten 2 sales. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about inventory. I don't have to worry about somebody else messing up my order. I don't have to worry about relying on other people. It is all controlled by me. So if you're low-key a control freak, digital products is honestly a good way to go. It's really just a great business model and it's cheap to start. You don't need any money to start. One thing I would argue is that every business has a dark side, right? Restaurants have food costs. Freelancers have nightmare clients. Etsy sellers deal with copycats and competition, so what's really the difference? The upside here is a massive passive income stream that is just waiting to be unlocked by you. The upside of this is passive income, scalable systems, location freedom, being able to work whenever you want, drink your coffee in the morning until 12 p.m. and then, go out and enjoy Pilates and just come back home and keep working on it. Like, there is so much that you can unlock once you really truly lock in and start creating today. So there it is, folks. The messy middle, the stuff that's blurred between the revenue and kind of X'd out that nobody really talks about is, yeah, starting a digital product business on Etsy can be super overwhelming. It can be creatively exhausting. You're gonna have to deal with nightmare customers at times, and you probably will be wanting to quit, but that is part of being a business owner. You have to understand that no business model is going to be perfect. You're always gonna have struggles. You're always gonna have nightmare clients. You're always gonna have fees. You're always gonna have XYZ that is prohibiting you from doing whatever, okay? Starting an Etsy digital shop can be truly the most rewarding things you can ever do in your lifetime. But yes, there are going to be hiccups along the way. But if you are willing to overlook those hiccups and see on the other side and see the positives within it, you will never, never, never regret the decision you made. So I think if there's anything you need to take away from this video is that you need to choose your hard and you need to fully commit and fully be prepared for the ups and downs that come with selling digital products. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if this gave you a clear structure of the real Etsy, the real nitty-gritty of what it's like to be an Etsy digital seller, please leave a like, please comment down below. I would love to hear your opinions and thoughts. But all that to say, I will see you guys in the next video and I hope you guys start selling today. Bye guys.